Hi there, it's Kulji again, and thank you for joining me. I'm very happy that you've stepped in to see this second video post from mine. There's a couple of topics I wanted to talk about today. The first one being fear, just to go over some things I spoke about in the first post, and then to talk about social media, or any type of media, to be honest. I am not an expert at any of this. I'm learning as we're all going along, learning in this ever fast moving environment. And as we all know, yesterday's information becomes very old very quickly. But relating to fear itself, as you know, fear does give you two reactions. It's either fight or flight. And I really wanted to look at the flip side of fear, because we can also look at the flip side of fear to help us and to hopefully help those people around us to get a handle and try to get some control back in our lives when we feel really helpless, so to speak. In my case, I remember going through my initial cancer diagnosis and feeling a heck of a lot of fear and doing exactly what the oncologist told me not to do. I was told not to go to Dr. Google, and I found myself being on Dr. Google all of the time, morning, noon, night, middle of the night, looking at my symptoms, diagnosis, treatments, all sorts of things, looking at so much information. It was overwhelming. It really did have a psychological and mental effect on me, because I was fearful, quite frankly, and that insights other emotions which at the time were just not positive for my well-being. But essentially I was in a constant state of fear, feeling very, very vulnerable. I was able to recognize it, and I think sometimes that's the thing, you've got to be able to try and recognize it. And I don't profess to know everything about fear and the topic of fear, but I'm going to put some links below. You know, it's quite well known how fear can have a detrimental effect on your body, and can be all consuming, as it did with me during my cancer treatment. But I just wanted to go through some of the things that did help me while I was on my journey, so to speak. So as we know, out there in the media world, there's an awful lot of information being posted. Social media, things that have been validated, things that haven't been validated. There's a lot of scaremongering. There's a lot of information by WhatsApp. Facebook is the biggest one, I think. Instagram, not so much, but definitely Twitter and Facebook, and obviously YouTube, because people are also gathering information that way. It's a lot. And all I would say is that you've got to be able to recognize information and how it affects you personally, because how it affects you personally has a reaction to how you relate to other people also. Talking from my own viewpoint, again going back to my cancer journey, I was told that it would be better to always listen to the experts. In my case, it was true, because I was listening to every Tom, Dick and Harry, quite frankly, on Dr. Google. And if I'd have listened to what my consultant and oncologist said, I probably wouldn't have gone through this learning, but I'm very grateful for it, for sure. And what I've found is that people are spreading information that maybe not be correct, or not being validated, or exaggerated, and there's a lot of scaremongering out there. I personally don't listen to any of that, because I only take my news from when I listen to the government announcement on a daily basis. They're the ones that have been gathering the information. They're the ones that are pulling all the data together. They're the ones that have got the scientific and medical experts that can put all this information in a usable, readable, acceptable source of information for us. And they're telling us about what we can and can't do. And it's very important, as far as I'm concerned, that we follow it. I do believe that it's very easy to create hysteria, and I think that's what's happening. I did that myself with Dr. Google, but right now people are spreading information, misinformation, which is scaring a lot of people. So you imagine that one person that lives by themselves, that are scrolling through social media and seeing all of this, they don't have any friends or family to support them, no support networks. It can be very overwhelming, very overwhelming. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't keep yourselves informed. I think that's really important. Review who you would say are your reliable sources, and for sure have a think about how these things affect you as a person, and really adjust accordingly. Because if they make you angry, or if they make you scared, if they make you upset, then really have a think about how important it is to keep so well informed, and look at who your actual sources of information are. Now, in actually complying with the information that the government is telling us is so important. Really, they're telling us to stay at home so that we can stop the spread of the disease. There are a lot of people ignoring it. I know for a fact people are just ignoring it and not believing it. Even today I saw a post where someone said, it's over the top. Well, I'd rather be over the top than under, quite frankly. And I'm not a Tory. I've been a Tory follower for a long time, but my hat goes off to the government and the team there. You could argue that they should be working hard, and they should always work hard. Well, they're doing a heck of a lot right now, and they're here to support our NHS service, which is exemplary. We underestimate what they do. We moan and groan, we do that all the time. I've got to wait so long, etc. They're doing a hell of a lot right now. And if we ignore the information that they're giving to us, then quite frankly, you're putting people's lives at risk. You're putting lives like mine at risk. I'm very vulnerable. I am isolating myself for 12 weeks. And there's not just me, there's hundreds and thousands and millions of people like me out there that if they get the coronavirus, you could kill me, quite frankly. That's the truth of the matter. So all I would say is, for abiding by what the government is telling us, have a think about that. Listen to what your friends and family are saying and make your own judgment. But essentially, the experts are the experts, and for sure we should abide by what they're saying to us. So really, just to recap, that fear in itself can be exacerbated by having too much information. Have a real think about where your information source is coming from, whether it's validated or not. Have a think about how it affects you emotionally it as well, and then look at how you can reduce that. And in some posts further down, we'll talk about ways of coping. I just hope that from today that you have a safe and happy day, and join me on the next blog. But most of all, stay at home. Please stay safe. We do want to see you again. Thank you.